All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Well, let me get this tweeted out here so everyone can join in. 1 second. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. Awesome, awesome. All right, well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. So it is Thursday, April 2nd. What a week this week. So we're going to be finishing up our conversation this week on day trading breakouts with confirmation. Wanted to dedicate a whole discussion on this one today because it's very, very important with breakouts. But before we get started today, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and non-investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Good, good, good. All right. Well, let's check and see where we left off with the market today. So SPX, S&P cash here, we closed below the 50 monthly moving average, and we are in the bear market territory here under that 50 moving average, right? So the good news is we're holding the cloud right now as support, as potential support here. So let's see if we can continue to do that. Last month we bounced off of the lower cloud, so let's see if we can kind of hold in here, and maybe, just maybe, we'll start to flatten that curve a little bit and see how that's going, and maybe get this market going again. Weekly chart, so far, 1 day left in the week, and what a week it's been. Bullish engulfing week last week, and now we kind of got this red spinning top so far. So tomorrow should be interesting. We'll probably get a few shenanigans tomorrow, but hey, maybe they'll buy the dip tomorrow and try to push this thing up and maybe get another attempt at breaking out above that bullish engulfing week high. Keep in mind that we are under the 30 weekly moving average, right? That is kind of like a sort of like a change in composure area, right? We had that inside week down, which brought us where we are right now. Daily chart, so interesting day today, right? We, kind of big move, just kind of recapping right here. We got that reversal set up right here, that Morningstar reversal here, right off of the December 2018 lows, and got a nice push up here to the macro downward trend line. We broke out of that trend line on Monday, and just to kind of talk about tonight's stuff is we needed confirmation, right? We need confirmation out of our trend lines too, right? So, and we couldn't do that the next day. We pushed above it briefly. It took a little bit of a move up, and then they reversed off of it, and then we gapped down yesterday, and then of course, we worked our way up today. We poked back above that downward trend line, but still, this line becomes really, really critical right here as we try to get above essentially the high of the of this level right here, which is back here on the weekly chart to try to get above these highs right here. So we'll see. We'll see if they. I mean, we've seen bigger candles than these, right? We could certainly try to push above there and get strong over the weekend, but we have to see right here. We've recently had that death cross here on the 50 and 200 MAs, so pretty interesting going into this week. Let's take a look at the price action today. So price action day, pretty interesting, right? So we kind of we gapped down this morning, and they bought the dip right away here, and then they faded it back. We had a nice hammer off of the 15 orb low to push us up today, basically to the high of the day pretty quickly right there. And then we had a little bit of a chop zone right here. We broke down, right? We tried to break down right there, couldn't get a big move, and then we triangled here. Right, we broke down to that triangle today. So we had a couple good moves today, and then at the end of the day, they had the end of the day shenanigans, right? Outside bar right here, which pushed into the end of the day. So we take a look at the price action here on the shorter time frames using our levels. These are levels we provide to our members before each market open. And you can see how nicely each one of these got tested, right? Kind of work its big around, chop between these levels, confirmation down here, bear flag, back down to these levels, and then kind of meandered its way back up here at the end of the day. So good stuff. All right, so today we're gonna wrap up again this week's conversation about day trading breakouts, and today we're gonna be talking about the importance of confirmation. So just as a quick review over everything that we saw. So now some breakout levels, of course, can give nice moves, right? If we go back and we go to let's go to the daily chart here and kind of what we were looking at earlier. Confirmation doesn't necessarily have to be on the exact time frame as before, right? Remember, we originally started out talking about the double inside day, right, on Zoom, and so certainly we broke above those double inside day levels. We showed that double inside day breakout right here, right, and we showed how important that level was, right? We showed how important this level was. Go back here, right? When we got that double inside day breakout, right, and how important it was to get above that, right? We triangulated here pre-market, right, using our pre-market techniques, and then we pushed above that really nicely through that double inside day level, right? Now, when you're trading on the daily time frame, right, we look for that confirmation, and so we did confirm above it pretty decently here, increased volume, green candle, right? And then obviously we gapped up the next day pretty reasonably, so you got that nice follow through on that breakout off of that double inside day. And then, of course, it's a good place to take profit these days. We looked at it as a gift horse trade on a nice gap like that, and of course, we reversed down here on Zoom. We even talked about yesterday about coming down and testing this upward trend line right here. We got pretty close to that today too on some volume, right? So we look at that. In addition, we looked at some other techniques too this week. We looked at triangle breakouts, right? We went back. We talked about Boeing on the daily chart. Right, and we went back and we showed that the horizontal breakouts, how important they are, again, to wait for confirmation. And so here you can see on this move right here, the breakout candle finally made that breakout over the horizontal line, and this you need to confirm above it, right? We need to confirm above that to get at least a little bit of a move past it, right? And it's just a very, very important thing to look for on all time frames when looking for breakouts. If we go to the shorter term time frames, right, even the 1 minute here, right? Anytime we see a breakout of any type here, right, we still want to see confirmation, right? So we talked about triangles this week, right? We just need to confirm so we can push above it, right? So here, right, we had an initial breakout right here, and we just couldn't push above this level right here. We had an upper shadow right here and just couldn't break it. But we came back out and tested that triangle, right? Then we pushed above here with some nice volume, and then had a nice confirmation hammer, which gave a move to the upside right here, right? We had a triangle today on Boeing. So that triangle there, before we broke down today, was a great down move on Boeing today. So this triangle here, when we broke down, look at that. We finally got a nice confirmation bar right here, and then we had that follow through to the downside, right? Same thing here, right? As we broke out of this triangle, we're looking for confirmation that makes sense, right? Here's a pretty decent candle right here. And then we kept on working our way down, and we got some nice volume on this candle right here to give some confirmation that this thing was ready to go down. So when these breakouts go, it is so important to wait for confirmation, whether it's a triangle, whether it's a horizontal breakout, whether it's a any type of trend line. Just trend lines are important too. Here you can see this. Here as we work our way down the trend line right here, we break above the trend line. Here's your first candle right here. You get your trend box around that. You have a nice confirmation candle right here, a hammer with good volume. And you get a nice pop on that on Boeing too, right? But the reason we wait for confirmation, right here, we have this kind of horizontal channel that Boeing was going through today, and in any of these lines, right, we didn't get confirmation above it, right? So it's a lot of times that's really the trick, right? Because especially these horizontal ones, which we talked about yesterday, right? So we get up to them, and until we can actually break above it with some confirmation, right, we just have to assume that it's going to continue to chop in those ranges. And it's pretty dangerous, right? Because, like we said, especially with the horizontals, when you get back up to these levels, right, it becomes almost a good technique to short those. Like here with Boeing, it's not like we're going to short into the close necessarily, especially with options, but we get those moves there. And then look at that. We had this huge move on Boeing after hours, and now we kind of chopped around after that. And look at that. If you kind of take this a little bit further out, right, we finally broke above that trend line here. We got a nice confirmation candle here, which ultimately worked its way up. It's just the way price goes. And, there's a lot of psychology to it too. Psychology behind it is that, people are expecting these things to break out. But, until it breaks out, right, the bears are in control, right, at these levels, right? The bears are in control. So it's unless the bulls can prove that they want to be in control through that confirmation, right, there's no way to really tell. You could get stuck in that and get stopped out, for no reason. So very, very important to look for those confirmation moves. One of the things we talked about with triangles are the bigger triangles. Right? This is a pretty tight triangle right here, right? And so, with a bigger triangle, we want to look for those triangle moves, right, where we get the breakouts, right? So if we go to SPY today, even on the intraday time frame, we didn't have too much chop, but yesterday, we certainly did. The day before we had a little bit more. So, but here the triangle started to get pretty big right here, and then we ultimately, got a nice confirmation candle with some good volume that we were breaking out of this triangle, right? Because when these triangles form intraday too, we don't necessarily draw these triangles ahead of time, right? So we may have originally tried to draw a triangle here, right? And of course, we did get a little confirmation out of there, and it kept moving. But once these triangles expand, and the bigger they get, the more we need that confirmation there. Otherwise, it's going to continue to follow that pattern. So important on all time frames, whether it's the 1 minute or the daily time frame. And just a key kind of take home concept right there for the end of the week for this discussion, just to wait for that confirmation on it, to make sure it makes sense. So that's all I got for this week, guys. I hope you guys found this conversation this week helpful, and I hope it helps your trading. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and wrap up this week with another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff. So Shirley sent a few in here by email, so let's take a look at those here. So NEM, one of the miners. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Big reversal off of this one recently. It's been pretty tricky here with this price. You can look at just see the price action has been pretty nasty, right? You know, tough to say. This is a tough one to read right here. Lots of upper shadows, right? So at this point, I'd still look and wait to see if we could break out of some of these levels right here. Even today's high could be pretty reasonable, but this little doji right here, that reversal doji, would be nice to close above that, with some confirmation, with some strength to get going again. WBA earnings today. So interesting stuff. So WBA has been kind of an out of play type stock. It hasn't had a lot of big option volume recently. Mostly because they were talking about delisting it from the Dow. So I pretty much try to avoid this one. It did gap down today, gave you a spinning top today. So we'll see what goes on with it. But again, this one's just been out of play for me. But could be an interesting one. Might see a doji sandwich on that one. Just kind of look and see how that goes. So USO oil. Big moves on oil today. I think oil is probably one of the big reasons that the market had some strength today, because it certainly wasn't the job numbers. Job numbers is another great one too, but we'll take a look at that in a second here. But yeah, so here with USO, we're still under a bunch of trend lines. We did get out of this micro trend line right here. Nice breakout candle today, huge volume, big upper shadow, right? So we basically kind of found like some selling pressure right where there were prior upper shadows here below that trend line. So again, let's see if we can confirm above that tomorrow, see if this thing still wants to keep going. But pretty impressive move on oil there. GDX, again, another miner here. Same thing, right? So your trend line is right here. We're basically right at it. Let's see if we can get above it, confirm above it. That's kind of the goal on GDX there. These ones are a little bit tricky. Oxy, though, big one on the radar here. Good move today. Decent intraday move here. Starting to get above this trend line. So today's your first breakout day. Let's see if we can confirm above that too with some more volume to see if this thing wants to work its way up. So great stuff, great charts. Thank you, Shirley. Krishna, what's going on? Apple, let's take a look. Hope you're doing well. So Apple getting pretty tricky right here. If you kind of zoom out, right, we have this macro pitchfork that we've been dealing with here. And you can see we kind of came down to it. We came to a macro trend line as well, geometric level. And it kind of came up a little bit, double inside day for a nice breakout above, but we didn't want to swing it there because we didn't confirm above that double inside day. We came back down. The natural thing is to test the other side of that double inside day, and it gapped over it. So maybe this hammer here will work its way up to try to test that double inside day level. It's right at the 200-day moving average. So if there's some strength tomorrow, we might see that. And we did hold that pitchfork median line here. So let's see if that continues to show any relative strength. UUP. Yeah, UUP. Okay, so so dollar index bullish. Okay, so let's take a look here and see. So we've got our trend line coming down here. Started break above here. Inside day up today looks good. I like how we gapped above the 8 EMA, so a little bit of a doji type move. This thing, is kind of a little spotty, but it is interesting to see how the dollar is kind of getting some strength here. It just kind of shows, that that folks want to be in cash, right? That's kind of like one of the concepts with that there too. So nice charts. Thanks, Krisha. Bagesh, what's going on? Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Samira, how's it going? Thanks for making it. Let's see. So LK, yeah. So Luck and Coffee. Wow. So, this is one of those ones here, guys, where it's like we've been expecting this thing to go down forever, right? So, I mean, ever since kind of Corona started, we're like, okay, this thing's going to get just trashed, right? But it just kept on kind of slowly kind of working its way up, going sideways a little bit. And this is what I love right here with using the cloud. One of the great things I like about the cloud is is a retest of the cloud with either a shooting star type counter or some sort of reversal pattern right here. And look what we got, right? We got an evening star reversal set up right here. Green candle, real body above it, and then one that closed 50% of the range down. Now, granted, it wasn't really a reversal pattern since we were moving up, but these dojis here at the cloud, as you come back and retest the cloud, are just glorious, right? So, I mean, you come back here, you've got that doji, and so, that's a good area to look to consider a short move on it. And if if you're long-term short on it and then had some runners after taking some profit after this pullback, I mean, just what a fantastic down move today. For anybody who held it for the long term and on the short and just got that $4, back down to $4 today. Just an incredible move today. It had a wild day today. They were buying the dip. I think Citron came out and gave it some sort of bullish news, and I think it got halted like 4 or 5 times this morning until it finally peaked out here around $10. Now $10 is a real important line in the sand for institutions, investment funds, hedge funds, things like that. A lot of them are not even allowed to trade it if it's over unless it's over $10. So they may have tried to push it up there as best they could, but they couldn't hold it. And then everybody just dumped it here. I mean, you can just see the volume today right there. So what's in store for it? Maybe a little more action intraday. It's definitely one to keep an eye on. You can track the 15 orbs on it. See if it gets anything interesting there. But right now it might be down for the count. It just was just very, very weak today. So it's basically like Neo now. Just horrible stuff on that one. So we'll see. I don't know if it's going to go to zero, but it's trading in that Neo range right now, so a tough one to trust now, but something to look at. There might be some dip buyers that come in eventually, so you can still keep it on the radar just for some intraday trading fun. USO we looked at a little bit earlier, so big candle today, good volume, a little bit of an upper shadow right here. We got a key level right here that I'd like to see us confirm above with some good volume on that one to see if it can keep moving. ZEK, yeah, LK for sure. So, just another glance at LK here. Just a big gap down today. They couldn't hold it up today. Couldn't keep it above $10. So, a big upper shadow there, rejecting that level today. So, we'll see if this thing can continue to move. If it breaks below today's lows, you may see some more downside on it. So there's something to look at too. CCL. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, is there capitulation here ever? I mean, we're going to keep it on the bearish radar. We're back below the downward trend line. Very narrow range day today, but goodness gracious. I mean, somebody was dumping some positions today because somebody just is like, we're done with this one. So that means that there could be a potential reversal coming eventually. But it's just a really, really choppy day today. So, on that one, but wow, huge volume on this one today. I think everybody's just kind of giving up on it, that type of thing. So, but definitely worth keeping an eye on there as it hit a fresh low today. Ameren. Ameren's another one. So this one a little bit stronger, second day after the gap down. First day of the gap down was interesting. Then yesterday got some huge moves, some big volume coming in here. Is a lot of people are trying to buy the dip on this one, but again, an upper shadow. It's just kind of tough down here. It might be down for the count for a while. We might see some sideways action on this one, just like we might see a lot of sideways action on LK too. Let's see. So Virgin Galactic Space, yeah, spinning top right here. Right at the 200-day moving average. What an epic run this one had. I mean, we were chasing this one for a while. Good breakout candle right here with some good volume where it got that crazy upside move, and then it was just done. So you had that A cell setup right here, kind of broke down, shooting star, inside day, down, right? It's just kind of coming back and testing a lot of these levels, and then now it's back to the 200-day. So it's below its ADMA. So see how it holds this 200-day. Might be a doji sandwich down on SPCE. So, I mean, this one was just like, why does this thing keep going up, right? I mean, it was like, there's no reason. They ended up having like a conference. It was like no news off it. Their earnings were bad. And it's just like, okay, sure, space just keeps on going. But now it's went from hero to zero pretty quickly. So, good stuff. Great charts. Thanks, EK. Baggage at Tesla. I know, just here we go again with Tesla, right? So, they came out with their delivery numbers today on their cars. And, of course, beforehand, they lowered their expectations. And then they managed to beat those lowered expectations. So, but that's Tesla with the epic squeeze again. So, I mean, just a huge move after hours, right? It's up like almost 100 points after hours. I have to imagine it's going to get some more action tomorrow morning too. So definitely keep this on the radar. See how it handles that the high of this evening. That 547.90 is a 548. See if we could see this thing. We've seen Tesla do it before. I mean, this thing could be up another 50, 60 points in the morning, just with all the shorts on this thing. So we'll see how it does. They had some good positive comments too about, their Shanghai factory, right? So that's kind of a big concern, business in China with the whole Corona thing. So, it had some pretty positive outlook on that. So let's see what it does tomorrow. Pretty amazing move right there. Yep. And then, Zoom. So we looked at this a little bit earlier, right? We took that double inside day up, and then we had this nice doji sandwich down. And we talked about yesterday, we were saying, hey, this thing could probably come back and test based on the weakness of these candles. Could come back and test that upward trend line here. We got really, really close to it and reversed off of it today. So see how that holds. I wouldn't be surprised to see some sideways action. We're kind of in the area of a prior chop zone, right? So they've had some privacy issues, right? So the CEO came out, defended it, and all that stuff, and I'm sure they'll take care of it. So again, it's been a pretty big Corona type play. So see if it still gets some more strength going into that, going into tomorrow and the next week. CMG. Yep, CMG kind of hanging around right here, kind of holding these prior levels today. We talked about that. It did hold that pretty well today and balance. It's right at the ADMA here. So see if we can come back up. We want to see if we can get above that fib fan line and confirm above it. That would be nice. And then CLX. Yeah, CLX holding in pretty well. Nice candle today, good volume right at the fib fan line. So again, see if we can get back above the upper shadow of today's range. Good volume today. So again, this is a pretty good go-to one right here. I mean, disinfectants. I mean, you can't kind of get a better name for that. So that's good. Yeah, and more upside to the 190s. Certainly possible if we could push above today's high with some momentum. Good, cool. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Seneca, what's going on? Stonks. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Cool one. Yeah, AXP, let's take a look. American Express. So, a bit of a doji here today. It's a reasonable volume. Went ex-dividend, so it could be a potential dip buying opportunity, or it could get some follow through the downside as things are starting to trend back down again, right? We're seeing a lot of this stuff, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and could be working on wave 5, so may actually want to come back and test those lows, over the next several sessions. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Microsoft. A good trade of the week idea for us, right? As it took that inside day up on Monday, right? Got to the macro downward trend line, and then it gave a push to target, right? The 50-day mover which came off of that. Then an upper shadow there as it kind of worked its way down. Kind of a nasty candle yesterday, but we saw a lot of kind of strong reversals. So yesterday was kind of like a bear trap type day. We'll see if today turns into a bull trap type day. So we'll see. But anyway, it's right at that macro trend line here. So let's see if we can get above it, confirm above it. Now we really got to get above that guy and above that 50-day moving average for more strength. So chop zone below, so it's not afraid to chop around there if it wants to. Manu, what's going on? Apple. Let's take a look. Yep, so Apple again, kind of came down, held that pitchfork median line, green day today, below the ADMA. It's got some work to do, but it's got an open gap above. If we get strong, Apple could be a good one to look at. Some choppy price action intraday today. Let's see if we can get, some better action going on there. JP Morgan, bullish engulfing day, so that's nice. Had a pretty, the financials had pretty weak candles yesterday, so it gave a nice kind of reversal off of that. Open gap above. Looks like it's going ex-dividend maybe tomorrow. Yep, ex-dividend tomorrow. So see if it gets a little dip off of that, and maybe a push above today's high could work on filling that gap. Boeing had we looked at that earlier. Just beautiful short opportunities today. Again, big volume on a down candle here. Let's see if they get some follow through the downside. It came up a little bit off of it here, but we got the next level down here is about 116. So see if it tests that 116 level. 100 is a really key level for it to kind of hold above. Dipped below 100 for a little bit here before it ended up doubling in value. And it's just kind of drifting back below the trend line right here. Wouldn't be surprised for it to even come up and retest that trend line. So we're just kind of keep an eye on it. We're kind of intraday type stuff right now. Triple M. Finally starting to show some stuff here. I mean, we got this macro trend line right here. We're coming up and testing it today. Good volume. Let's see if we can get above it. It's going to take a couple days perhaps, but if we get above it here, right, confirm above it, maybe we can start working our way back up to the cloud on that one. And then Rite Aid, Rad. What a cool name. Rad, we drew this megaphone on it recently. We're kind of in the middle of the megaphone right now. There's a lot of support levels right here, so we kind of drew that here recently. We did bounce off of that a little bit today, so when this thing likes to move, it'll move recently. So it does give some good stuff. Had a nice trading zone right here, trading range right here, which it broke out of, and then we're starting to megaphone right here through this this kind of crazy Corona week with these names. But drugstore is essential business, so definitely something to keep an eye. I'm sure they'll get a lot of increased business. Mayan, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at SPY. So this is SPY. A little bit different than SPX on this one. Inside day instead of a green candle through it, but still pretty strong. Came back above the its macro downward trend line too. But a lot like the SPX, right? We've got to get and confirm above this thing to see, if we can get a nice candle above that, then we might see ourselves work its way up. Otherwise, it might come test its resistance. But we got some key levels to work with tomorrow. We have an inside day, so today's high and today's low could be some key levels to look at. Watch out if we break below today's low. You had a shooting star prior, so we'll look and see if it breaks down today's low and then get some momentum through that prior day's low right there. And then Google. Looking pretty interesting here. It didn't have as epic of a bounce as the rest of the market, right? So this kind of came down. That's your wave 1, your wave 2. Here's your wave 3 essentially. Wave 4 is kind of like some choppy sideways action right here. So maybe, just maybe, it's just kind of consolidating right here. I like how it's holding this 1100 level pretty well, right? So see if that holds today. Again, let's see if we can get some confirmation above this range, right? So there's the horizontal breakouts that we're talking about. See if we can confirm above that, and then try to work its way off of that. Nvidia. Video is pretty strong today. I mean, had a nice candle today. Inside day though, it did ultimately close above its 50-day moving average with some volume. So that's kind of nice when you see a big volume on an inside day. So see if that could break. If we get some strength tomorrow, see if we can break above today's highs. For a move up to the cloud, that would be a nice one. And AMD. Yep, AMD's an interesting one right here. So it had a lot of call sweeps in it today. I traded, we did a great job today. We traded SPY and did really well. Took a small stop on AMD today, but it was just an experimental setup I was doing, and it ended up working. So the first down move was right here, right, and then it ended up working up here and finally giving these upper shadows right here, and then gave the down move. So I was in a little bit early on this one today, but in general, a bearish candle from yesterday. So I was looking for a good short setup intraday. The call sweeps are interesting, but we still have to respect what price is actually doing. So it's left a gap below here, right here. So if we break down below today's low, we may see a momentum move to test that open gap. If not, it could be working to climb itself up here. Let's see if we can get a little bit stronger, closing the upper end of that upper shadow there, and then possibly work its way up to the 50-day moving average there. For AMD. Good stuff. Appreciate the charts. Gamer Dad, what's going on? DXCM. Let's take a look. DXCM. So Dexcom, nice candle day, good volume, rejected by the upper cloud right there. Again, it tried to give a move above the cloud here, but it was decreased volume, so it's kind of like blah. Then it gave you that inside day, came down, shooting star at the 50-day, gap below it, and then a quick reversal today. So we're in the cloud right here. Let's see if we can get back above it. At this point here, I would like to see some decent confirmation above these levels here with some good volume, right? Maybe come back and test those recent highs on that one. Good stuff. Awesome. Thanks for the chart. Cheers. Samit. What's going on? Yeah, let's take another look at Microsoft here. Mr. Softy right into the downward trend line, right? So we got a breakout on that one. It had a real strong move with its cloud business this week. It was a good concept here. Worked its way up to the 50-day moving average beautifully within a day, right? And then it kind of came back down today. It's basically holding these that inside day level. You see, I've got an alert on that, how important that level is. So it held that here today. Now let's see if we can get back above it. Real thing now, it's got to basically close and confirm above that kind of 165 area for some more momentum type strength. CMCSA. What's going on? CMCSA. Sorry, I even typed it in with an extra C in there. Still below that trend line. I talked about the other day, double inside day, failed to take it up, right? Gave you a shooting star off of the downward trend line there. Had a great gap down yesterday, and they reclaimed it today with some strength here. Decreased volume, but strong, right? So now, I mean, ultimately the goal right now is getting above this trend line, right? Confirming above it, getting some volume, and then trying to work its way back up there. So good stuff. Apparently, they might get hurt a little bit by the Olympics in Tokyo being canceled. I think they were a big broadcaster about it, or sponsor type thing. So that's kind of interesting how that might weigh on it. Papa Mentos, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so Regeneron. Decent strength. I mean, it definitely has had relative strength the last couple days. This is a tricky one. I don't trade this one just because the spreads get so crazy on it. But I tell you, if you do catch a good entry on it, you can really get a big move on it. Some of our guys like to trade it, so that's good. But nice hammer today. Decreased volume. It's kind of running into that this big scene of the breakdown type move here. So it might just be testing those levels, right? So just be careful with this one a little bit. It is kind of expanding a little bit, kind of in like a megaphone type formation. So it might be trying to target the top of that megaphone. But just kind of keep an eye on it here, see if it breaks above today's highs to get a move up there a little bit higher. So that'd be good. Uzi, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Nvidia, yeah, I mean, big volume today on an inside day, and I like how it closed above the 50-day moving average, right? So good stuff there, and I like the volume and a nice inside day. If we could break above today's highs, we might come back and retest those cloud levels, which would be great. A breakdown below it, though, folks, could be a little bit risky here. We got a big gap below, and it might want to come and test the scene of the breakout right here, and then your gap below underneath that. So just be careful with that. Victor, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so Boeing, kind of big thing right here. Here's your macro trend line, right? We consolidated here. I thought it was working on a bear flag here. It never broke out. In fact, it shows a failed bear flag. It actually is a failed pennant right here too, but kind of a descending triangle as well. Yesterday's close was nice, and today got some nice follow through the downside here. I mean, this thing, it just looks weak, but we're kind of drifted up a little bit, after hours, so we may come back, retest that trend line, and if we confirm below it, we may come back and test at least 100 again. Very possible. Papa Mentos, yeah, signaling a pen, so Pen Gaming. Usual suspect here for Corona, like these casinos, right? It's kind of the big thing, right? I know these will be an epic buy once Corona goes away and people start gambling again, going publicly. But right now we're still below this macro downward trend line right here. So let's see if we can get above it, confirm above it, and work our way up. Otherwise, the trend is down until proven otherwise. We get a nice little continuation shooting star here as the ADMA is curling down. So something to look at there too for potential downside action. I'm going to. No, that looks good. If I don't put that on the game plan for tomorrow, just see if it gives some more downside confirmation on that one as a potential short. Good. Good. Victor, yeah, gold. Let's take a look at GLD. Now, gold and everything, the precious metals trade a little bit differently than everything else. I mean, they still follow a trend, but golly, waiting for confirmation on one of these things, you might be waiting too long. Right here, this broke above that trend line here with good volume, and then it gapped up superbly, right? Then it gave these double dojis right here. It kind of looks like a face, right? Two eyes and a nose. And then it was kind of looking at a pennant type formation here. We couldn't confirm above that, and so we gapped down. So we're kind of chopping around the cloud right here, right? So bottom of the cloud, top of the cloud. Let's see if we can get above that and get above these little doji areas right here. Try to retest those levels. But it can give some good intraday moves, so that's good. And then Disney. The Diz, inside day today. So kind of working on a bit of a pennant type pattern right here. It's starting to get a little bit tight in here. So look to see if it's getting compressed here. So look to see if we can get an expansion move off of that one. Breakdown below, could retest the 91 level, and of course below here, below 91.80, could work on filling that gap. Above it, could test here 103. Next level up 107. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. And Samit, yeah, GM. Switching from the car business to the respirator business, right? So, all these auto companies except for Tesla have reported reduced numbers and all that stuff. So just kind of makes sense. Nobody's really out buying cars, but it is possible we could get some good deals on cars coming up in the future, right? As car companies get desperate, dealerships get desperate, to kind of get rid of inventory. They mark their cars down. Might be a good opportunity to buy the dip on a new vehicle or a used vehicle, but we'll see how long this goes, right? So, but definitely something worth tracking. I mean, gas prices are already way down, right? So, but big move right here. There's a downward trend line on that, so we really just want to see it confirm above here because we've already kind of drawn what I was kind of seeing what to do. But a little bit bearish here, but not back below the trend line. Might come back and test that trend line. But let's see, what they have in store for GM. And then mRNA, bullish data. I mean, this is going to be on the bullish radar for tomorrow. It's just such a strong candle, double inside day up, right? And we got confirmation here. So I would expect it to, if it shows some strength, to at least come back and test that 35 level, and maybe even come up and test the 36. Watch this one though; it's a little bit tricky with options. You can see how crazy all this movement's been up here, but strong candle today. So let's see if it gets that follow through tomorrow. And Kroger. Yeah, Kroger with a good candle today. Again, I wish this thing would just close with a decent. Here's a decent candle right here. Nice close at the highs. Here's another one that got some follow through to the upside. Big move on that. And then it does this upper shadow thing. It gets a little bit tricky to trade, but I like the candle today. See if we get some follow through over today's highs. And then Walmart was pretty nice today too. Walmart can be pretty tough to trade, especially when it gets range bound. But this was a nice candle on Walmart today. It was actually going to go in the game plan today on the bullish side, but just couldn't get that. Just didn't have it on it, but nice move here on Walmart today. Big volume, big candle. So I think that should go on the bullish radar too tomorrow. See if it can break above it. So I'm very, very bullish. Good, yeah, Victor, my pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for the chart request. Keith, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's take a look at Zoom. So Zoom, privacy issues recently, right? Brought it back down from its the Corona hype. Double inside day up. That was a great breakout that we had. Kind of gift course gap up right there, then pulled back down, right? And had that doji sandwich down, and then got that follow through today and came right back to the trend line right here. So see if it holds this trend line. That's kind of the key thing right now to see if it does, right? So I wouldn't be surprised to see another type of inside day or kind of narrow range candle after this. Maybe some sideways action a little bit until they get some resolution on their privacy issues. Oh yeah, and then Piton. Yeah, Piton, has been showing some good intraday strength. It just hasn't been getting any follow through. So these upper shadows right here are key for it to get above. So at this point, I'd probably want to see it just get above this cloud right here. Maybe confirm a little bit, and then maybe you can work to fill that gap on Piton. So I guess everybody's buying exercise bikes for $2,000 when, maybe that's what people are using their stimulus checks for, is to buy Peloton bikes. But you don't need a Peloton bike; you just need the app. Anyway, definitely a good one to keep an eye on right there. Good lower shadow too. I mean, just kind of hanging out there. Esmond, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Guild? Yeah, Guild is a good one too. That's another nice one here. Broke out above all these levels. Good volume today. I mean, keep an eye on this one tomorrow. See if it gets another breakout above today's highs and comes back and tests those levels. We're still in the middle of this huge macro megaphone right here. So let's see what these things have in store. Just crazy price action. As these are contending for the vaccine. But Guild had some good vaccine news today on it today. So some promising stuff. Got some nice upside movement all day. So that was going. It's on our bullish radar for sure. Samit, yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, yeah, guys, great chart request tonight. Really appreciate great session this week, great discussion this week on day trading breakouts. We'll come up with another one next week that I'm sure you guys will enjoy. So really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the chart request. If you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube. And also hit the like button too. Esmond, do I do day trading or options trading? I do both. I day trade options, and we also swing them when the volatility is not crazy. So, yeah, options. We do a little bit of futures and stuff like that too, but mostly options. So yeah, options are the best. They're the best. So it's been tricky with the volatility, but it's definitely been fun. We're still catching some good moves. The SPY seems to have calmed down and is working really well for us right now. So that's great, and some other ones too. So our go-to list. So good stuff. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, don't forget to click subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the like button. And if you can, check the links in the description. Session, what's going on? You made it. So definitely click check the links in the description. And I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. We'll be back Sunday night, every market night. So we'll be back Sunday night on the live stream then. Oh, you got some chart requests there? Let's take a look. We got Okta. Oh yeah, I'll take a look here. So Okta. A bunch of upper shadows here off the cloud. It did defend itself today, at the low, so definitely something to keep an eye on there. MDB, a little bit tricky, a little buy the dip opportunity here, today as it got pretty close to its fib fan line. And LMT, little war machine stuff. Yeah, nice candle on LMT today. Just a little bit of decreasing volume, but it's coming back. It might come back and test that inside day high there. And then for it to really break out, let's see if we can get above that level there. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, cool. Thanks for tuning in, session. And Praveen, yeah, Bank of America. Let's take a look. Yeah, Bank of America kind of doing okay down here. It's holding its fib fan line. Nice green day today. Not a lot of volume. Let's see if we can get back above the ADMA and then above all these guys right here, right? That's really the key level to get above this downward trend line. So that's an important thing for that. Good. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Oh, no, you're good. Appreciate you, Praveen. Thank you, guys. Thank you, session. But yeah, all right, guys. Well, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Hope you have a great trading day tomorrow. Stay healthy this weekend, right? Stay healthy, and we'll talk to you guys on Sunday night. And remember your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks again, everybody.